event. It's wonderful to see so many people in the room because I know how incredibly busy you all are and what you're all facing at the moment. So I really do thank you very, very much, all of you, for being here. And it's also fantastic to hear the buzz in the room and hearing you all talking, and that is pretty much what today's about. It's about connecting and sharing. So I'm just going to start by doing an acknowledgement of country, and then I will show you the shape of the day, and then we have Marie Taylor doing our welcome to country. This is taken from the Linkwest Constitution. Linkwest honours the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, the first Australians whose lands, winds and waters we all now share. We pay tribute to their unique values and their ancient and enduring cultures which deepen and enrich the life of our community. We recognise that Aboriginal peoples, as the traditional custodians and occupants of the lands in Western Australia, have a spiritual, social, cultural and economic relationship with their traditional lands and waters, and have made and continue to make a unique and lasting contribution to the identity and well-being of Western Australia. I'd also like to acknowledge the fact that we have people here today who've travelled as far as the Cocos Islands, Tasmania. We were going to have Catherine and one of her members from Kununurra, but Virgin cancelled her flight last night, so they're not here, and she's very upset about that because she is the Linkwest Conference party girl. And obviously a very valued member of the Linkwest board. So the shape of the day, it's all in your programme. We started a little bit later, and as I said a bit earlier, so we actually don't have a break until 12:30 unless we finish early. So if you need to pop up and get a glass of water or go to the bathrooms, please feel free to tweet and post on Facebook. The Wi-Fi information's on your programme. Housekeeping, mobile phones on silent, please, but make sure you keep it there so you can tweet and post on Facebook. Bathrooms, I failed in my mission. I actually didn't check where the bathrooms are. They're through the door and out and down the corridor. That's right, I remember. So they're just along that wall there. Right, and we will do our best to keep on time, which is why I've started a little bit early. If you are a smoker, there's a no smoking policy inside the hotel, so you'll need to go outside the hotel lobby and turn right, I think it is. And in the event of an emergency evacuation, the alarm will sound. Do not use the lifts. Use the stairs. The stairs are located around the corner at both ends of the main corridor. Follow the directions of the Mercure staff and the assembly areas at the fire station car park on Hay Street. So, just leaves for me to welcome Marie Taylor. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Marie Taylor, who is a Noongar elder and a proud descendant of the Whadjuk Balladong Noongar people, the most ancient peoples of the world. Marie is a very accomplished person, and I will leave you to read her bio in the programme, but it very much represents and speaks to this year's NAIDOC theme of "Because of Her, We Can." Marie has a long history with Linkwest, providing welcomes to country, running workshops at various conferences, and has a close association with a number of our member centres, such as South Lake Otti Neighbourhood and Family Centre. So please welcome Marie. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and it is my pleasure to welcome you here today to the most ancient of Aboriginal land in the world. And I'm going to welcome you in the ancient language of Noongar, of which we still speak today, and which several members of my family teach as part of our community service to organisations that are wanting to expand that connection between Aboriginal people and the non-Aboriginal people. And let me say that many of our participants are from overseas, which is great, because what we do, we sit down and we share and talk about our differences, but also how we are almost very, very similar people. So let me welcome you to Noongar country in the ancient language of Noongar. Abba, Wajak Baladong Noongar Bridia Yok Wanju Noongars, Noongar Wam, Regulars Bridias. Nicha Yorkania Bibbleman Borja, Nicha Warding Management Kundam Borja, Mutjanabidi Nicha Balapin Weir Mityining Alakan Yay Ni, Katajinan Kura. Yay, Buddha. Greetings. The Aboriginal custodian welcomes all people here to the land of the people of many breast. This is Crow and Cockatoo dreaming land whose families and ancestors tread the grounds, leaving footprints upon the land where their spirit lingers on, surrounding us through stories as we listen, look, learn, talk, and later on we will celebrate. Nunakan, Kulin Kumbawaran Pokija, Alija Nunaborja, Yuwal Kulnicha, Noongar Borja, Nicha Yalagonga, Miji Guru, Mundi Kalapes, Nganjurapan, Nunakninin Yai. Some of you may have come from over the Great Sea or from your lands afar to come and settle here on Noongar country or to attend this meeting, and I'm happy that we are here standing on the ancient land of Boorloo, as we know today is called Perth. I always like to share a little Dreamtime story as part of my welcome to country. And I thought the one that I would tell you all about today is about the swans, which in the olden days used to be all white. And every day these swans would look into the reflection of the river and say to themselves, "Oh, aren't we beautiful? Look at us, we are gorgeous. No one is as beautiful as us." But sitting up there in his tree was old Whalage, the eagle. He was always sitting in his tree, and he got sick of hearing the swans bragging about their beauty. So he flew down out of the tree and he plucked all the white feathers from the swans, except a few white feathers on their wings, and then he flew back up to his tree. As winter approached and it became cold, the swans began to shiver and cry for warmth. Wardong, the black crow, he was also watching what was happening, and he felt sorry for the swans. He flew down from the tree and he plucked some feathers from off his back and stuck them onto the back of the swan. Marley the swan began to cry, and he did not know that his wing was bleeding, and as he wiped his nose, the blood rubbed all over his beak. And that is why it is red today. If you look closely at the feathers on Marley's back, it looks as if they are stuck on, as they are always ruffled, just like the feathers on the crow. Today you will see both Marley the white swan and Kuyak the black swan swimming around in the river that has been so named in their honour by the people who came from over the Great Sea. Shuai warawin buyaka buyaka buyaka. Muriap murichwir nichakarang noriji bornawanki. I've asked the bad spirits to lead the room and the good spirits to come and be with you all here today, as you have got a big day of talking. And as I leave the bunch of green leaves, the message is, I don't come in anger. Let me leave a special little blessing with you all. And it's the Noongar Irish blessing. Ko bidi yera ngalakanyo nuna, ko makaya go nuna boko, ko ngank birakon, nanango kan nuna minyat, alajakepa koyogo, kan nuna borja, budawan ngalakanyini nicha, kon yawa yera baran nuna bura mara copper. And of course those beautiful Irish words, may the road rise to meet you, May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall softly upon your fields. And until we meet here again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand, because, as the words of this little chorus of this song says, Ngalakan kening murt, ngalakan bulamurt, ngalakan bulabojak yualkul, yakaning ngalakundam doinch doinch warakan, nine nunuk ngalak murich murt. Yes, we are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one song. I am, you are, we are solid Australians. Yunka, thank you.
Thank you, Marie. As usual, that was absolutely beautiful, and you hold such a beautiful space in the room and have such a beautiful, warm presence. I love it when you do our Welcome to Country, and I also love the link to with the Irish blessing, because of course we have Cormac Russell joining us all the way from Ireland at 10 o'clock. So we're very much looking forward to that. So that was a fantastic link as well. So it gives me great pleasure now to introduce, well, somebody who probably doesn't need very much introducing at all, to Cate Rocchi, the chairperson of Linkwest and CEO of Perth Media. Cate has been on the Linkwest board since 2014 and has, which was incredibly good timing, as the whole sector has benefited from Cate's extensive experience in business, media, public relations and journalism. She began her career as a journalist at the Kalgoorlie Miner and then worked covering financial markets in London and Hong Kong before returning to Perth and establishing Perth Media. Who knew that skill set would be so needed on the Linkwest board when she joined in 2014? She is an alumni of the Leadership WA Signature Programme, which she completed in 2017, and earlier this year Cate won an award for from the Engaging Young Leaders on Community Boards for championing diversity on boards. In 2017, Cate took over as chairperson of Linkwest, and what a year it has been. We all have so much to thank Cate for, so please could you put your hands together to welcome Cate.
Good morning, and I just wanted to say, Marie Taylor has just left, but I just wanted to say yes, we do want to expand the relationship between Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people at Linkwest. Sadly, my photos couldn't quite make it up to the screen this morning, but no problem, we've still got a good speech. Good morning. Welcome all to this wonderful Refresh event organised by Linkwest, led by CEO Jane Chilcott and her excellent team. We have Jane Billam, Joe Murphy, Mihaela Nicolescu, who just comes back to Linkwest after maternity leave. We welcome her back. Sharon Gillies, Elizabeth Nicholas and Judy Summers. Refresh's themes today are reflection, inspiration and celebration. And I'm delighted to be part of such a positive day for our crucial community sector in Western Australia. We'd also like to welcome an excellent turnout from the Department of Communities and Primary Industries and Regional Development. There is, I believe, in the room, I haven't actually checked, so apologies, Penny Kennedy, Bindi Symington, Catherine Ashworth, and we also have from the Department of Primary Industries and Regional Development, we have Rob Lester, Celia Lute, Max Betteridge, Amanda Fairhead, Sarah Klan-Jolly and Steve Nicola. Thank you also to Dr. Sandra Krempel, Community Development Consultant and mentor to Linkwest over many years, who will be facilitating this afternoon. Welcome. We're absolutely delighted that so many can join us today. So we've had two massive funding crises. First with the accommodation in the neighbourhood sector, the neighbourhood centres, and then with the CRC's defunding or threat of defunding. If we take the CRCs, the impact of millions of dollars of cuts on the regions was going to be catastrophic. And many of the people we help, including some of the state's most vulnerable people, would be severely impacted. And I kept lying awake at night saying to myself, how do we get here? I didn't know, so I went around asking people, because that's what I do. What happened? How can we improve a sector and an organisation, and what can we do better? And it became clearer and clearer, people outside the sector making decisions about our future, in the case of the CRCs particularly, often didn't know the facts about them. Many actually didn't even know they were run by volunteer committees, and they needed explanation on the reasons why our centres varied so vastly. To us, it was obvious. Esperance is about as similar to Broome as Latvia is to Cape Town. They vary because they efficiently, cost-effectively respond to community needs of our vast and glorious state. Just as our state supports industries from olive oil to iron ore, to technology startups, to being one of the world's largest wheat producing areas. Just on wheat, actually, I've made this point and I keep making this point, it's one of my favourite points. WA wheat belt families grow $2 billion worth of wheat. That is 40% of the nation's wheat crop. So anyone in the wheat belt, I'd be throwing that statistic out whenever you can. The needs of our vast and glorious state vary enormously. Our community CRCs decide what they need, not Linkwest or others. The communities make the best decisions about what's best for their communities. That is why neighbourhood centres and CRCs have been so tremendously successful. By the way, that phrase about CRCs, tremendously successful, is one that I use over and over and over again. I stole it from the CBH chair, Wally Newman. He's just one of the many that encouraged us to make our case strongly to survive. I am grateful to Wally and his tremendously successful Kate. They have been tremendously successful. And I'm so grateful to him and many others giving us courage during the campaign. There's too many to thank right now. Agribusiness and regional leaders all across the state. But I wanted to tell you how many people support you. It was overwhelmingly 100%. While there were some isolated pockets of things not working as well as they could, just as every police station doesn't work as well as it can, or every single school in the state doesn't work as well as it can, I would say that I could not find one regional person who didn't believe that CRCs should be better funded. But while the CRCs are well known and valued in the bush, and this is backed up by statistics in the Curtin report, diversity in place, unity in service, the effectiveness and impact of changes to the WA Community Resource Network draft report to the Department of Regional Development 2016. Now, has everyone got one of these? This is gold, and it's one of the only things we have. So when you go to any meetings, I take this in my briefcase wherever I go. It's in the car. Now, city people did not know what CRCs did, and many neighbourhood centres needed to tell their stories more consistently to outsiders, in my view. If we talk about the neighbourhood sector the previous year, it was very clear that while we knew how much of a difference we made, others didn't. There are pockets of clear beacons such as Sudbury House and Yangebup. I can see Sam right here. And there are others. I'm not saying they're the only ones, but from a branding perspective, media perspective, community education perspective, they were well known. But storytelling can always improve. Our sector, facing enormous cuts, had to do on a tight budget what it could. And it revolved around working out the best things the network did, understanding those, and then telling those stories. And to do that, the board had to understand as much as it possibly could. If you talk about leadership models, then that is leadership as a servant. We're here to serve our members. And the more we understood, the better we could serve them. And the better we could illustrate and argue their case. So where do we go? Inspiration. So I was just blown away and tried to get in the car twice a month to see. I tried to do it evenly. One neighbourhood centre and one CRC every month. I didn't always do that, but I did my best. We were absolutely blown away by so much passion. So many programs, so many economic results from these programs, and the cost effectiveness of these programs. So many of the things our network did inspired. I have loved learning about this tapestry of community work, and here's one story. So it's a pretty crisp night in York, and the York CRC ladies and volunteers, led by Robin Garrett. Have we got Robin Garrett here today? We missed out on Robert. Have we got? We haven't got Serena Narkle here either. No, that's a shame. I was going to get them to take a bow, but never mind. We'll talk about them, and please let them know what was said. I hope they're happy with that. Anyway, we're in York and we're at basketball courts next to the big outdoor stadiums. There's a heap of cheeky kids running around playing basketball in Hoops for Youth. The local police are there, and one of those police actually cooks the sausages at the end. Many of those kids have come to this event without their parents. There's about 50. Some of them kids come with their parents, but a lot of them come on their own without their water bottles and without their $5 entry fee. They stand in a queue to register, and the York CRC don't mention that they don't have the money. They just put their names down on the list, and matter-of-factly, the bibs go on and the balls come out. So later I watched these kids play, and it's very clear to me that some of the best players don't have the best parents. So their outstanding talent that the York CRC is able to bring out in them is on show, and yeah, the wonderful things. It was a wonderful, wonderful night watching these kids play basketball and watching the police relax and the kids relax and everyone to come together as a community. Now, the local sergeant has just appeared in a newspaper article with Avon Valley Advocate. A young reporter called Eliza Wynne has written that story, and she's done a fabulous job. And she's been covering this whole campaign because she believes in the community resource centres, and she had to convince her bosses at Fairfax in order to cover this, the whole of the CRCs. She wrote that Sergeant Wolfe said work between the police force and the community resource centre at York had created the Hoops with Youth program, and it had helped change the perception of the police. So York has just recorded, this is its lowest crime rate in 10 years according to the West Australian Police Statistics. In 2017 to 2018 financial year, York recorded 154 offences in the town. In 2014 to 15 financial year, there were 331 offences. So we've gone this year, after Serena Narkle's Hoop for Youth program and her art projects and all the other things she's been doing to engage the young kids, there was 154 offences. In 2014-2015, there were 331 offences. So this is a direct link, and the police credit the CRC. It has been a success in encouraging the juveniles around town to see us in a different light and make us more approachable, he said. Now when we pull up to have a chat, they're talking to us rather than running away and being scared of us. So I just love that. I love that story, and I love the economic benefit of that story, and I'm just going to go into that a bit now. So I'm presuming that many of you know about our state 3 strikes policy, that you're out for juvenile justice. So I heard Wayne Martin talk about this. He's devastated because a good kid can have a significantly traumatic event, go out and commit 3 petty crimes and end up in jail. So what does that cost the taxpayer? If a child goes to juvenile for a year, between $300,000 and $400,000 a year. So, you know, I think there should be a Serena Narkle in every single town in regional WA, and I hope that there one day is. So why am I telling you this story? You and I know that's just one of hundreds, and many of you would have similar stories, but I'm making this point that the stories count. We have to keep trying to tell these stories to as many people and as efficiently and strategically as possible. Social media is amazing for that. Remember, even the friendliest of you can go and have a conversation one-on-one with someone and tell those good stories to illustrate your good work. But you can't reach 1,000 people with one bow the way the media can. So keep getting out there, centres. Educate, promote, invite, and overall be friendly. In the sector language, there's a term that's called relationship building, but I prefer to use making friends. Recognise that you're important to your community and the WA economy, and that you're all community leaders, and make as many friends as you possibly can. In my view, you have to listen and allow space to hear the ways the network can improve. Transparency is important to me, and I want to share some of the feedback I've had so we can further reflect on the challenges of the future. Now, this is just something to share with you so that we can all improve, because I try and continuously improve, and that's hopefully something that's, that everybody does in the room, or that can do. So this is some things that the decision makers have said to me. They've said things like, this area has been funded for a long time and there's no guarantee that will continue. Lots of other things are special and want state government to fund them. This sector needs to prove its relevance. It needs to tell its stories better. So the member for Girraween, Margaret Quirk, who were very kindly, we went up, had us to Parliament House. That was a direct comment from her. You need to tell your stories better. And give those politicians the ammunition to represent you. So data is also very important, and I refer to our Bible here if you're a CRC as well. And so there's some other comments that are very interesting. Many neighbourhood centres, this is perception as well that's out there, were born out of the women's movement. What is the future for them? Because there is no legislation enshrining them in law, they're easy targets for cuts. It is not fair that new suburbs and many towns don't have neighbourhood centres and CRCs. So I don't want to dwell on those 5 points, but I just wanted, in summing up, just to raise some of the big picture challenges that we can't ignore and we need to address however we see best going forward as a collective and a network. Looking ahead. Now, I thought just a quick chat about training, and I did have a great slide of this truck training at Dandaragan, because I just wanted to remind everyone that training CRCs and neighbourhood centres provide enormous amounts of training every day right now, every day of the week. Neighbourhood centres and CRCs are all about training, as we all know, and many of us have moved so many have moved from perilous, unstable lives on welfare into paid employment thanks to our members. And it's a good time to remind ourselves about all that work over the years as well. So for example, many of you coordinate skippers tickets, small business training, computer skills training. There are also more formal partnerships with large companies such as Alcoa, who does training in-house and one of our members. Partners in Grain WA have consistently run agribusiness training throughout the wheat belt, and I know this is just the tip of the iceberg. If anyone wants any more information about the training that's facilitated by our members, please get in touch, because I've got lots of information on this and I think I'm very passionate about this subject. Much of my focus, again, this year will be to get to know more of our neighbourhood centres, particularly those in the newer suburbs. So if you'd like to have a cup of tea and share some of your information, some of your plans, please get in touch with me. And finally, the last part of the talk is all about celebration. So it's my hope that the Refresh event will mark an increasing positivity in the sector. Actually, if you want an example of that, there's nothing better than the films of the co-design projects organised by Linkwest. That's the Yangebup and Kalani projects, which are fantastic. So I couldn't play them for you today again because there wasn't enough time, but look, I hope you've all seen them. They're just amazing. Actually, I will say that team member Liz Nicholas, who worked on that co-design projects has extremely high levels of skill there. There's so many opportunities for our members to create so many wonderful things for our communities and to make a difference that our state will be celebrating for many years to come. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Kate. And stories, the theme of stories is very much woven through the whole of today. And making friends and educating and inviting. So that's a theme that will be running through today. Right, so we are now going to the bit of today that is making me a little bit nervous. We will be beaming Cormac Russell from Ireland into the room.